All right. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Another week of online learning. But hey, the good news is that we are coming near the end stretch. So I know a lot of us have been feeling overwhelmed. A lot of us are feeling like we are over this, but we are almost there. You've got this week with graded assignments. We have next week. Next week is our last week of learning. Honestly, not a lot of graded assignments next week, a lot of catching up for some of you. And then that's about it. So hang in there. I promise you, we are near the end. So today I'm going to start like I do every week with a few announcements. You have two assignments that are due this week by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. The two assignments. The first one, to wrap up our study on ancient China, you are going to learn more about some Chinese enduring influences, which I will explain more in a minute. And you're going to need to read a document and complete either a paper, advertisement, or poster, or a Flipgrid commercial or video. Again, I'll explain that more in a minute. And then we're going to jump into just some quick activities on economics. So one of them is just an intro on economics. You'll read a document and answer questions, only this time they'll be on a Google form. The extension activities that I'll post are optional, although I always encourage you to take a look at them. And as usual, don't forget to check PowerSchool and your email often. So let's start with the ancient Chinese enduring influences. So last week, right, you learned about the different Chinese dynasties that were in charge during the history of China, of ancient China, that is, from the very early dynasties like the Zi and the Shang to the later dynasties of the Han and the Qin. And when all of these families were in charge, different advancements happened in China, and just different ways of life. You also read a document and watched a video on the Silk Road. That was a very influential trade route that the Chinese developed. So to end things, we are going to look at some of the ideas and inventions that the people of ancient China are most known for and have had a good amount of impact on our life. So when you get to the Google Classroom, you'll see a few different things posted for this. You're going to see a slideshow with instructions. And then you're going to see a document as well. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is read the document that's titled Ancient Chinese Enduring Influences. I linked it. I'm also going to post it. So you're going to read through this document. And you should notice a lot of things that you're familiar with. The Chinese developed lots of things that have had a lasting impact on our world, from different philosophies like Confucianism and Taoism. You might recognize the yin yang symbol, to Kung Fu, which is a type of martial arts, and porcelain, paper, not like the ancient Egyptian form of paper that was made from papyrus, but actual paper made out of a wood or a plant fiber that's much like the paper we use today. Silk, gunpowder, a compass, noodles, a woodblock print, seismograph, kite, acupuncture, wheelbarrow, just to name a few. So you're going to read through this document. I tried to include pictures for most. And then you'll come back. The easiest thing is to come back to this slideshow. So after reading through that document, instead of just doing questions and answers, you're going to have two choices of what you can do. Option one, you can create an advertisement or a poster selling your product. What is your product? You're going to choose one of the ideas or inventions that were listed in that document that I just showed you, that you just should have read, the Ancient Chinese Enduring Influences document, to be your product. Option two, you're going to still choose a product. So again, maybe you want to pick the wheelbarrow, or what's one that I just listed for you? The woodblock print. You're going to create a short commercial or video selling your product. You'll use a Flipgrid that I've created that is attached in the Google Classroom as well, and the slideshow to display your video. So how will this assignment be graded? If it's pretty simple to get your grade. If you choose the paper advertisement, I prefer it to be an advertisement, but I also put poster just in case you can't grasp how to make it into an advertisement. It should be creative and catchy and include at least 2 facts and a colored picture. That's bare minimum, though. I'd love to see more. If you choose to do the Flipgrid commercial, I also put video because maybe you're struggling with how to make things into a commercial. But it should be creative and catchy, include at least 2 facts, and then you need to find a way to display your product. So let's say you chose paper. You're going to need to find a way to display paper. So maybe you want to just hold up a piece of paper, or maybe you want to draw a picture of a piece of paper. However, in the case of paper, that wouldn't make much sense, right? But if you chose something like tea, you could always just draw a picture of tea. Or maybe you want to grab a coffee cup and pretend like you've got some tea in it, right? To include that as part of your video. I did an example, I know you've really missed seeing my awesome pictures and my awesome drawings. So to fulfill your needs and desires for that, I have a example of a paper advertisement. Notice my drawings. It does not have to be something that you would find in the art museum. But I chose the idea or invention that I chose, you'll see it circled here, is the seismograph. So what a seismograph does in modern times and in ancient times as well, it literally tracks the movements of the earth. This is how scientists can tell when an earthquake has occurred. And in modern times, they can determine how strong the earthquake was and so on. So the ancient Chinese developed this. Their seismograph looked a bit different than seismographs we have today. They actually looked like a bronze jar, and they would have bronze dragons on this jar. And in the mouth of each dragon was a ball. When the ball would move, they could tell that the earth moved. So I made my advertisement, is the earth moving, or are you losing your mind? And of course, you can see Mrs. Bennett, SMS, social studies expert, my really awesome drawing of the bronze jar and dragons. And then, of course, I put find out for sure. So this is where I'm incorporating facts, right, with an advertisement. So that spin on it. So by our seismograph, it measures movements of the earth. And then I even put how. The dragons on the outside of the jar have a ball. When the ball drops, an earthquake hit. So again, it makes it look like it's an advertisement trying to sell a product, which would be the seismograph, but yet it also includes facts. Should you want to do a Flipgrid, I do not have an example of the Flipgrid for you, but you can click on this link. It will pop up to my Flipgrid. And think of it kind of like you did when you did, I think it was over maybe rocks or minerals in science class back in the fall, and you had to sell that. You want to sell your product. If you chose a kite, that was a Chinese invention, you want to sell your kite. Make sure that you show your kite as well. But the Flipgrid videos, honestly, I put a 1.5-minute time limit. So it needs to not be, anything super long. And if you choose to do a Flipgrid and you don't want me to post it, be sure that you let me know that in a comment or in an email so I can keep that private. But you don't have to do a Flipgrid. You could do the poster option. So if you do the poster option, you want to make sure that you take a picture of it and that you upload it to the Google Classroom so that I can grade it. Okay, so that's part 1 of this week's activities. The second part of the week is not quite as complicated. So you'll notice also posted in the Google Classroom is a document that looks like this. When you get to this document, you're going to want to switch gears from ancient China to modern times and think about economics. We've talked about that word quite a bit in class, right? And whenever I would ask you all what came to mind when you think of economics, a lot of you would mention money and jobs. Some of you would even think of trading and imports and exports. And all of that is true. So this document just gets into some very basics. It's going to talk to you about something called scarcity and the fundamental questions of economics. You're going to read it, read through the graphics, You'll find out too, it'll talk to you a little bit about some different economic systems, like a command economy, market economy, traditional economy. It's really one page front and back, so it's 2 pages. And then when you're finished reading this, you will notice let's preview it. You will notice I'm at a loss for words, a Google form. And on the Google form, there are 10 multiple choice questions. No written responses, just 10 multiple choice questions. You're going to answer these questions. You can retake this. I'm not going to show you the correct answer because I want you to go back and try to figure out what the correct answer is when you go to retake it. Of course, you can always email me if you have any questions, but I will record your highest score in PowerSchool, so feel free to retake it as many times as you would like. It's not a quiz, but you can easily get your 10 full points for answering the questions correctly and redoing it if you maybe missed a few. So, first part of the assignment is the enduring influences. You read a document about the different ideas and inventions that the Chinese developed, and then you either make a poster, take a picture of it, upload it to the Google Classroom, or you do a video on the Flipgrid that I have linked. Second part, you read about economics, a very basic intro to economics, and answer questions on this Google form. I will also have some extension activities for you to take a look at. Again, those are optional. Those are just there. I know some of you have enjoyed doing things like playing chess or learning how to draw a mandala. As usual, please don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions. Shoot me an email, comments in the Google Classroom. I will have my virtual meetings this week. I will have them on Monday and Wednesday at 1:30. However, on Friday, they will be canceled just because my son Oliver will be graduating from preschool and he will actually have a drive-by preschool graduation. So have a great week, everyone. I miss you and hang in there. We are almost to the end.